two huge victories for Alberta Conservatives last night. I'm going to unpack the election results, laugh a little bit at the mainstream media, probably gloat and soak up some of that sweet, sweet NDP misery. The NDP are very, very disappointed today, and I'm drinking up their sadness a bit, I'm not going to lie. Here's why. The NDP have suffered two catastrophic by-election losses, making it the third straight by-election that the United Conservatives have won. Now, both of these ridings were Conservative Wildrose-held ridings, but for all the NDP's preening that they're doing to the province, something that Albertans want them to do, well, clearly the by-election results don't demonstrate that, and as we know, 9 months or so out from a general election, these by-elections are clearly a harbinger of things to come. The by-elections demonstrate the NDP's support, or a rather lack thereof. Conservative candidate Devin Dreeshen won his riding of Innisfail-Sylvan Lake with 82% of the vote in a five-way race. And Conservative candidate Sheila Gunn Reid took hers home with 66% of the vote in Fort McMurray-Conklin. But besides the NDP being utter losers, they are joined in their pathetic defeat by another bunch of losers in the mainstream media. Let me elaborate. NDP operatives in Fort McMurray were trying to make voters believe that the use of the term special interest groups by Conservatives amounted to anti-First Nations racism. Instead of just pointing out that the NDP are often beholden to their friends in big labor and the public sector. Anyways, it was published in the media and it was a real leap and voters didn't buy it. But my favorite, absolute favorite mainstream media New Democrat complex fail has got to be what happened in Innisfail-Sylvan Lake. Vice discovered that Devin Dreeshen went to campaign for Donald Trump in the United States, a dark blue Canadian Tory supporting the Republican nominee for the president of the United States. And he once wore a Make America Great Again hat. So what? At first I thought it was strange that Vice was going out of their way to make me like Devin Dreeshen even more. And then I realized no, they legitimately thought it would be a deal breaker for rural Alberta Conservatives like me to find out that Dreeshen supported the Republican president in his efforts to defeat that insufferable undead crone Hillary Clinton. Can you believe it? And Vice had a lot of help trying to ruin young Devin Dreeshen. Cheryl Oates, Director of Communications for the Premier herself, in a nonpartisan role, might I add, tweeted that Dreeshen was another UCPer hiding from his past and his politics. At the very least, those running for office should show their voters honesty. Matt Dykstra, press secretary for Environment Minister Shannon Phillips, and one of those journalists who made the jump over to government, tweeted that those Make America Great Again hats stand for separating kids from their parents, anti-women policies, and attacking Canadian jobs with tariffs. Now, there are so many more fear-mongering comments from official NDP types, and I just don't care all that much about these people except to brag to them that they lost in grandiose Hillary Clinton fashion. Sorry, Matt and Cheryl, but Dreeshen won bigly. His victory over NDP's Nicole Mooney was huge. And let's talk about the NDP's Nicole Mooney for a quick little minute here. Back a few years ago, Nicole Mooney was professing herself to be a pro-life Catholic educator who even took her students to the March for Life. Now, that's the sort of thing I kind of want to see in a Catholic educator, but now NDP candidate Nicole Mooney in 2018, running in Innisfail-Sylvan Lake, is suddenly pro-choice, as all NDP candidates tend to be. Elise Judas held out for silver. Mooney sold out for 9% of the vote and utter embarrassment. Here's the thing. Be Catholic, don't be Catholic, be whatever you want to be, I don't care. As long as you're honest, as Cheryl Oates says. But unfortunately, you know who does care about all this stuff? The Catholic school system, because Catholic teachers have to sign an attestation to the faith, which of course makes perfect sense. Parents want people who believe in Catholic values educating their kids. Otherwise, those parents would just seek out secular education. But this is more than just a Catholic issue. I think normal people think anybody who renounces their deeply held religious convictions for political expediency is just not a principled person, the kind of person who will sell their soul up the river to get ahead. It's gross. Mooney went from abortion is murder to murder is okay as long as I win an election. And no matter what you think of abortion, that kind of political hackery is roundly rejected from all sides. And I hope if Mooney tries to go back to her job as a Catholic educator, an army of angry Catholic parents eat her alive. I'm unapologetic about this. Mooney needs to answer to them. Either she was a fraud before or a fraud now, and she really needs to explain to the people who trust her to educate her kids which one she really is. Anyway, all this leaves me to wonder if Vice or anybody in the New Democrat Party has ever actually met somebody from Innisfail-Sylvan Lake. Those people, they're pretty conservative rural folks who are straight shooters and they like to tell it how it is. Of course, Dreeshen supporting Trump wouldn't be a turnoff for them. It might even motivate a few of them to show up at the polls and convince a few of them that Dreeshen would be a bold conservative instead of one that cowers and kowtows to the mainstream media. You know how those sorts of conservatives annoy me. Anyway, I know that's the effect it had on me, and I like to think that I'm a pretty mainstream conservative type of person. What's next? A smear campaign from the NDP accusing Dreeshen of advocating for small government, low taxes, and personal responsibility? Voters in Sylvan Lake basically flipped the bird at the mainstream media and the NDP elites. The NDP vote collapsed from 23% in 2015 to just 9% in 2018. Anyway, after 3 by-elections and 3 devastating losses to the UCP across both rural and urban ridings, I personally hope the NDP, their allegedly nonpartisan press secretaries, their cronies and cohorts in NDP special interest groups, and the mainstream media never ever quit with their smear merchant campaigns against good conservatives and decent conservative voters who didn't vote for the NDP. Call them stupid. Call them racist. Call them all the phobias. It's blowing up in the NDP faces and continues to blow up in their faces, and yet they refuse to learn from their mistakes. The left accused Donald Trump of being just a little too Trumpy, and they said he'd never be elected. They tried to use the same smear tactics to derail Doug Ford, and now Devin Dreeshen. At this rate, Jason Kenney will die of old age in the Alberta Premier's office. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. What you just saw there is my daily video that I do here at The Rebel, but did you know that I have my own weekly full-length show? It's aptly called The Gun Show, and we talk about issues facing Canadian families. But to get access to my show and the rest of our incredible premium content, treat yourself to a Rebel subscription today.